It's now time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and local perspectives of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is being brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association and can be heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. on local radio WMOA AM 1490 and ESPN radio WJAW FM 100.9 and AM 630. It's now time for the show. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host.
Johnny Wharf and Energy Insights on a Saturday morning. We're pleased to be on location in Washington, D.C., and with the Administrator, Andrew Wheeler of the Environmental Protection Agency. At what point in your life do you say, I want to run the EPA?
You know, I never actually said that. It's just kind of happened. I was the Deputy Administrator before I became the Administrator. I started my career at EPA, and it's great to be here. So straight out of law school, I came to work here as a career employee. And it's just been an incredible opportunity for me.
As the head of the EPA, we think about, where you were at as it relates to Marietta, Ohio, and the Ohio River. And I know you're a Cincinnati guy, and yet what is the environment like? River water, lake water, air, compared to what it was when we were younger? Sure.
Well, first of all, our air and our water are both cleaner. From EPA measures 6 criteria air pollutants, and our air pollution is 74% cleaner today than it was in 1970. And I remember the 1970s. And our water systems back in the 70s, over 30% of our water systems failed to meet EPA standards every single day. And today, over 93% water systems meet the EPA standards every single day. And the other 7%, they may have a violation here or there, but we work with them to make sure they have cleaner water. And I just look back, I'm from Cincinnati. I went to school in Cleveland. I'm the only EPA administrator to ever go swimming in the Great Lakes. I used to go swimming in Lake Erie when I was in college. The Cuyahoga River in Cleveland, it was when it caught fire. That was one of the reasons EPA was created 50 years ago, and we're celebrating our 50th anniversary today. And the environmental indicators in Ohio are just so much cleaner, so much better than they were when I was a child.
All right, and then as it relates to the oil and gas industry, obviously the Utica and the Marcellus discovered, in our area in southeast Ohio. Talk a little bit about, how your, administration works in conjunction with that.
Sure. Well, it's important for us to set the regulations, set the ground rules to make sure that everybody complies with the environmental standards. We have the best standards. We set the gold standard worldwide. Other countries emulate what we do on environmental protection. So it's important for us to set the standards, then work with the states to make sure that everybody is in compliance. But the incredible thing about the shale play now in Ohio and the fact that Ohio is now once again a booming energy state. It always has been on coal, but now with the oil and gas and the shale, that is important resources to not only fuel our country but the rest of the world. And if I can just turn political for just a second, I just want to. The governor of New York made, in my opinion, the worst environmental decision of any elected official when he vetoed pipelines taking that shale gas to New England. So instead of allowing people in New England and New York to rely upon Ohio-based natural gas, he's forcing them to import natural gas from Russia. I mean, if you just look at the carbon footprint alone of transporting natural gas across the ocean in ocean liners versus taking it from Ohio through a pipeline into New England, there's no comparison. And he did it in the name of climate change, which is absolutely ridiculous. And you look past the climate or the carbon footprint, we produce our oil and natural gas in the United States in a much cleaner fashion than any of the other major exporters anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, that's fascinating analogy as well. Lastly, on this segment, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to do another one, just to get your thoughts about citizen science. And so, I think a lot of times the oil and gas industry gets a bad rap because of what some young girl this week referred to as information pollution. It's just, you can look anywhere. Can you speak a little bit to how you handle that?
Sure. This proliferation of information that we're faced with today is both a blessing and a curse. It's great that more people are taking an active interest in the pollution levels in their communities and are measuring or getting out and doing things like that. But a lot of this can be taken out of context. There always has to be context around any numbers, any values that are found. And sometimes people report something and it's not in proper relationship. You need to take a look, for example, at background levels and compare a reading on an instrument to what the background level was. So I applaud people for taking an active role in this, and I think we need to encourage more citizen science. But we have to put it in context, and we have to work with the people who are doing these efforts to make sure that they understand the information and data they're collecting, which is one reason one of the regulations we're really working hard on here is our science transparency regulation, where we are saying, we're telling the American people, we will put out there for the American public to see all of the science that we are using for the basis of our regulations. It's, I cut my teeth on the right to know law when I started at EPA back in '91. I fundamentally believe that people have a right to know how the regulatory decisions that the agency makes are made and what is the science that we use to underpin our regulations.
Andrew Wheeler is the administrator of the EPA. A privilege to be here in your office and in Washington, D.C., and I'm glad Ohio Guy is representing the EPA. Thank you.
Thank you, and it's great to see you and great for you to be here. Thank you for coming.
All right.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday at 9 a.m. on WMOA and ESPN Radio WJAW as Johnny Wolf brings you your local and inside perspectives of the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley.